Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Oceana Hayden with tonight's version of FSU weather. Right now we are looking at a beautiful Doak Campbell Stadium, 62 degrees. It has been a gorgeous, gorgeous day. We're sitting at high 50s, low 60s all around the Big Bend region and really sunny all over. For the future tonight, we are going to be getting really chilly into the 40s all around the area, but tomorrow is going to look pretty similar to today. We're looking at 70 degrees, which is a little bit warmer than what we saw today, but overall, it's going to feel the same. We're going to have some 60s throughout the day and a slight breeze as we go on through the afternoon. On this FSU weather, we are going to be discussing the cold front passing through that we are feeling right now, some fire weather fuel knowledge, and an Atlanta spotlight. All of this and more on FSU weather.
Yes, thank you, Oceana. We're going to have a really great show for you here tonight. It's our coldest day in about 7 months. Once again, we've had a few of those. It's getting colder and colder, and eventually we're going to have an even colder day, but not colder than today. Tonight will be our coldest night, so if you're going to be going out and about tonight, definitely make sure to dress for it because we're expecting it to potentially get even into the 30s. It's going to be really close on if we're going to have our first night in the 30s of the fall semester so far. And it's going to be really chilly, so if you're going to be out and about, and if you have class in the morning tomorrow, kind of the same story. Another thing we need to pay attention to is if we're going to do any burning or any fires, make sure, because we're under a red flag warning, fire weather warning, to make sure to watch your fires, because we don't want to start a forest fire during the cold weather. It's going to heat you up, but it's not going to help very much if you end up burning a whole neighborhood or a forest down. So definitely make sure to pay attention to that, because I know a lot of people do like to burn during cool spells like this. But now I'm going to pass things off to the wall with Oceana.
Thanks, Nico. Yes, so we are back at Doak Campbell Stadium, still looking gorgeous as ever. The sun is starting to set. We're still sitting 62 and sunny over across Doak Campbell Stadium. Our temperatures today were quite below the average. We had a high of 64 and a low of 46. So it was quite chilly today, as I mentioned before, but I am a huge, huge fan of this weather. All across the region, we have high 50s, low 60s all currently, and our current dew points are sitting pretty low. So not only are we nice and chilly, but we're dry. This is the ultimate weather to be outside in my opinion, as long as you're bundled up. Here in Tallahassee, our dew point is 34, which is pretty far off from our current temperature of 62, hence that super dry weather we are experiencing. But that does cause concern for fires, which we will discuss later in the show. We do have a slight breeze of 10 miles an hour here in Tallahassee, a little bit quicker, a little bit higher of a wind in Donaldsonville. So it's going to be a little bit breezy, feel a little bit colder than it actually does. Our current local radar shows not a whole lot. It's quite dry here in the region. As I had mentioned, not any showers to look out for right now, just a lot of chilly air. So for tomorrow, like I had mentioned earlier, it is going to get really chilly tonight, also like Nico had mentioned, so definitely bring a jacket if you're going out. For tomorrow though, that temperature is going to sit pretty similar to today. We're going to get up to 67 in Tallahassee and about 65 Bainbridge, a little bit warmer on the coast in Carabel at 69, but overall all across the region we're sitting upper 60s as our high for tomorrow. Our nurseries cam shows that beautiful, beautiful weather that I was mentioning here in Tallahassee. It's been an amazing day here. Could talk about it all day. The dog walk forecast for tomorrow, 41 degrees at 7 a.m. That's very cold. That's a little bit too cold in my opinion. So if you do have to go walk your dog really early in the mornings, definitely bundle them up with a little jacket and with yourself as well. But 11 a.m. is looking like the prime time to walk your dog with a good 55 degrees. Tonight, 42 in Tallahassee. We're seeing 30s up in Georgia, and there is a potential to see some 30s here in Tallahassee as well, which is very, very chilly. So definitely keep an eye on that if you are going out tonight. For the week ahead, we are looking at a gorgeous weekend, high 70s as our highs and low 50s as our lows. Next week, we are seeing 85 as our high on a Wednesday. Not sure if we're going to reach that, but it is going to warm up a little bit more than it is right now. We've got some low 50s all across the area, though. These are temperatures I love to see, and really no rain in the forecast. All of this is below 10%, so we are seeing some really nice weather conditions for the week ahead.
Thank you, Jana. Yeah, we're going to take a look now at Florida, which not all of the cities in Florida have seen the effects of the cold front, but all the cities in Florida are looking to be gorgeous right now. All sunny skies, a little bit of cloud cover in more of our southern areas. That's because that front is approaching. That's going to create a little bit more cloud cover. Temperatures, though, are looking mild across the area. Everyone's sitting in a very nice temperature. We're a little bit cooler here in Tallahassee, but Tampa, they are sitting at 74 degrees to close out their day. So still looking to be nice and moderate. And current conditions across the state showing that the southern areas are looking a little bit warmer, and that's typical. But that front is going to be passing through the whole state as we close out the day today. So they can be expecting some cooler temperatures as they head into the day tomorrow. And they're going to be seeing some nicer dew points as well. And we can also spot the cold front with the dew point map right now because we can see where we have drier conditions here in the Panhandle, but as we head down the peninsula of Florida, we are seeing some more muggy conditions. And that's a sign that the front is approaching and you are going to be seeing some of those wetter and cloudier skies. But luckily, this front is a dry front. We can see it on the map as well, where you can see that cloud cover around Tampa, which we saw on the cameras. And that front's going to be moving down the state. And so they're going to be seeing a little bit more cloud cover, maybe a little bit more moisture, but nothing in terms of rain. Things are looking clear right now, and they're expected to stay clear as we go into the next couple of days. So looking at our forecast for Miami, we maybe have some afternoon pop-up showers, just some things to keep in mind. Not going to be a total washout, and temperatures are looking to be right on average for Miami and very mild. And as we move on up to Tampa, they're going to be seeing a similar story to Miami. They're going to be feeling a little bit drier tomorrow after that front moves through. So they're going to have that northerly breeze, making it feel a little bit drier. Their dew points will drop a little bit, but they're still going to be sitting pretty warm, around 80 degrees. Heading to Orlando, where my brother lives, or maybe where we all know where Disney World is, things are looking to be cooler. So as we're noticing, as we're traveling up the state, next couple of days, we're seeing those cooler temperatures because that cold front is going to affect more of the northern counties than it is the southern counties. And for our friends in Jacksonville, where I like to fly out of because of cheap plane tickets, things are looking to be pretty mild there as well, 69 degrees for tomorrow. So it's going to be a similar story that they saw today. But it's going to be still chilly as they wake up in the morning for their day tomorrow. For our friends in Pensacola, so the western counties, they got the brunt of the cold front. They've been cold for the past 2 days, and they're going to be cold again tomorrow. So we're going to be seeing that trend for the northern counties for most of Florida. And for tonight, things are looking to be chilly here in the Panhandle. We've got 41 there in Pensacola and 45 in Jacksonville. So those are going to be temperatures when you wake up in the morning. You definitely want to have that coat. And we can see some breezy icon there on Orlando as our front encroaches. That's going to be a northerly breeze. So once again, it's going to bring those dew points down and make it feel even cooler there for our friends in Orlando. And looking at tomorrow's forecast, temperatures don't really bump up that much. We're going to be seeing some nice cool temperatures here in the Panhandle, and we're going to be seeing some cooler than average temperatures down in the peninsula of Florida. But I'm going to hand things off to Nico, who's going to talk more about the southeast.
Yes, thank you, Caitlin. We're actually looking at cold temperatures pretty much in the entire country, except if you go way out west. You can see the only spots that are really warm right now are Miami and Los Angeles, and Miami's always hot. The cold fronts don't get down that far south very often, but you can easily tell that the cold front has stopped around I-4 as of right now. And then if you want any other warm weather in the country, you need to go to Los Angeles, because everywhere else is well cooler than average, particularly across the eastern half of the country right now. You could see temperatures as cool as 38 up in Minnesota right now. You can easily tell that the cold front has come through the entire country at this point. You can easily see where it is based on the moisture levels. Anything south of I-4 is still warm and humid right now. Anywhere else in the country is extremely dry, especially across parts of the center part of the country. Look at Kansas City's dew point at 6. You're not too far off from having a negative dew point there right now, which is going to be really, really dry weather. So definitely make sure that if you're going to be burning anything out here, that you don't leave it unattended, because these dew points are extremely low and very, very dry. But looking at our upper level moisture, you can even see there is a little bit of upper level moisture, but none of this is really falling on the ground right now unless you go way out to the Pacific Northwest. Across the southeast, you have extremely dry air right now. It's working its way into Tallahassee. So right here, we're having extremely dry air, which is why we're having that red flag warning right now. High pressure is dominating much of the country. You can see a warm front off the Rockies heading now into Kansas. This is where it's going to start to warm up a little bit, but there's a cold front right behind it, so it's still pretty chilly up in the northern part of the country. You have a little bit of lake effect snow with this low pressure in the northeast, and then you have a lot of rain up in the Pacific Northwest, which is pretty typical for this time of the year. But looking at the southeast, you can see freeze warnings right now extending all the way from south of Dallas, Texas, Pennsylvania. That doesn't mean this area is not going to be under a freeze. It's going to be freezing, but they've discontinued freeze warnings for the winter because they've already had their first hard freeze, which means their plants have already died over there. And off here, you probably have some marine alerts because you do have that system pushing into the Pacific Northwest right here. If you're going to be out and about in Seattle or Portland, you're experiencing what you typically would think of the weather being like when you go to the Pacific Northwest, which is being extremely cloudy, dreary, and wet. Looking at our 72-hour rainfall forecast, looking at the whole country, you could see the only area that's going to have a lot of rain is near Seattle, Washington, where you can expect to have 3 to 5 inches of rain, which they're used to this, but obviously when you get too much at once, you're going to have flash flooding. Hopefully not too bad, though. You're going to have slight chances of rain, maybe some snow if you get cold enough in parts of the Midwest, and then along the east coast of Florida with a weak nor'easter on Friday, there's going to be a low chance of rain. That won't get to Tallahassee. Looking at our country tonight, the entire country is going to be cooler than average except for Miami, where you're looking at a low of 75. Here in Tallahassee, we're going to be expecting a low of 40. It could very well be our first low in the 30s if we get a little bit of radiational cooling, which I would expect to happen. Along the west coast, this is your other warmer spot right now where you're looking at temperatures in the mid-50s. As we head into tomorrow, it does warm up quite a bit compared to today, but the morning is going to be really chilly. You're looking at pretty much the Midwest, the plains. That's really where it starts to warm up. The east, especially the northeast, is still pretty chilly. But looking at Tallahassee, it's going to be 71. It's going to warm up quite a bit more than we expected it to originally. 80 degrees in Miami with showers. It's going to be warm in southern Florida as it usually is at this time of the year. But now I'm going to pass things off to Caitlin.
Thank you so much, Nico. Yeah, we're going to talk about fire weather here at the desk because it hasn't rained in Tallahassee in like 3 weeks, and that causes some concerns for fires here in our area.
Yeah, definitely. That really dry weather that we were mentioning earlier, really all across the country, is at risk here for fires. So it's definitely important to brush up on some safety as well.
Of course, and we are in a red flag warning. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so it's in effect for much of the Gulf Coast today because of this really dry conditions stretching from western Louisiana to Tallahassee. So it means that critical fire weather conditions are occurring. So that includes strong winds, low relative humidity, which is that dry air, and really warm temperatures.
I don't think we have the warm temperatures, but we definitely have the low relative humidity because I have chapped lips from the wind that we had this morning and just the really cold, dry temperatures.
Yeah, me too. It's been so dry. Like, I understand why we have this fire warning. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on if you were planning on having a bonfire because of these really cold temperatures.
Of course, yeah. And relative humidity is defined as how much measure of water vapor is in the air. So what we were talking about earlier this morning, we weren't feeling that. We had chapped lips, things were really dry. We don't have a lot of relative humidity in the atmosphere right now. Things are looking dry after that cold front moved through, and that's going to be the case for the next couple of days.
Yeah, so definitely keep an eye out and definitely prepare. I would definitely bring more chapstick. I should have this morning.
Yeah.
The breezes really are making it drier. So definitely keep an eye out. And like I said, I would love to have a bonfire right now.
Yeah.
Because this weather is just beautiful. But especially in this Tallahassee area and all the way spreading to Louisiana, it's definitely not a good idea.
Yeah, and we've, like you said, we have low relative humidity, but we've had that wind. So that's also something to consider. If you do want to have a bonfire tonight because it is so cold, do be watching it because that wind could blow it and that could be catastrophic.
That's right. So this red flag warning means that if a fire starts, it has the ability to spread rapidly and across large distances, which of course puts not only people in danger, but buildings, structures, things like that, which could make it even worse. So we definitely recommend monitoring the burn bans and avoid the outdoor burning
as much as you would want to, and like we'd mentioned, staying moisturized and hydrated, and try to conserve water as well.
That's also really true, yeah. So as much as I want to have a bonfire tonight, I'm probably not going to, because when I have a bonfire, I don't really want to be focused just on the fire. Like I have
Right.
friends over, and I just don't like the smoke, because if it's windy, then you have smoke like an area that's just being covered in smoke.
Yeah,
That's
just
not fun
even,
either.
That's not even enjoyable at that point. So
No.
really, it's not perfect conditions for a bonfire.
Yeah, so maybe for
unfortunately.
enjoying the cold temperatures today, it's best to just like get a hot coffee, take a walk around Lake Ella, or just like
Yes.
enjoy the cold weather just outside but not actually burning anything.
Yeah, definitely. I would recommend enjoying the cold weather with your windows open, perhaps.
Yeah, that's
snuggled
what-
in a blanket or taking a walk. That's
But
what I
that
would
red flag warning does mean to be very careful in terms of fire. So we're going to pass things back over to Nico. He's going to talk about our spotlight city, which is going to be Atlanta, which is really exciting. Nico, what do you have to say about Atlanta?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be pretty chilly in Atlanta as well, so that's something you have to pay attention to, and dry. So another thing you're going to be looking at, you can see the city of Atlanta behind me. It's going to be really chilly, it's going to be dry, and you want to definitely be paying attention to that. It's not this cold right now, but I expect it to get potentially even colder than this tonight. So if you want to turn on your fireplace, definitely make sure to pay attention to that too, because you don't want to catch your house on fire. And obviously any bonfires, when it's this cold with low dew points and very, very low relative humidities, you definitely want to pay attention to that because they could spread pretty easily. Today in Atlanta, we had a really chilly day. Our average high is almost 70. The high today was 55. We're talking about 14 degrees below average, and obviously nowhere near the record at 82. The record we did get close to in Atlanta today was our record low of 30, set way back in 1878. This was over 140 years ago. We were only 4 degrees away from setting that record, so definitely very chilly for the first day in November. You're not usually talking about temperatures this chilly this early in the season. Tomorrow looks like it will be even cooler, so if you're talking about another record of 30 tonight, you're going to be only a degree or two off of that tonight, so definitely be prepared if you're going to be going out in the morning. It should be warmer by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but still, it's going to be chillier than average for this time of the year. You're not getting anywhere near 70 tomorrow, looking more like 56 in the afternoon. And as we're talking about our dew points, pretty much area-wide, in downtown Atlanta, 24, but our areas around it to the west and to the northeast, you're talking about dew points in the teens right now, which is very, very dry air. And even south of Atlanta, also in the 20s. And looking at our future radar, you don't even see clouds on this map. So you're definitely not going to see any rain if we're not even going to be dealing with clouds. It's going to be extremely, extremely dry, and it's going to stay that way all day tomorrow. Looking all the way at this time tomorrow evening, it's still going to be dry across the entire area of northern Georgia. And another thing right now, if we're looking at active alerts, here's what you can see that sticks out immediately. The entire Atlanta metro is under a freeze warning because we're expected to hit 32 degrees tonight. So if you have any plants that are outdoors that are going to die, if you keep it outdoors without protecting them, either bring them indoors or throw a blanket or a towel or a sheet over it like sometimes my family does, because you want your plants to survive these freezes, and they're not going to survive 32, and it could even get cooler than that with radiational cooling. We're talking 31 tonight, but any radiational cooling more than expected, you're going to be in the 20s tonight, so definitely make sure to be paying attention to that. And tomorrow night, cold enough for frost at the very least, if not another freeze. It warms up by Friday night and into the weekend. It's going to be nice. We're not going to be talking about nighttime during the day on Sunday, but this is your reminder that we are falling back on Sunday, so definitely make sure to change your clocks. But now I'm going to pass things off to Caitlin.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nico. I'm going to talk a little bit about the lifestyle, what's going on. It's been a gorgeous day, but I'm a little bit nervous about tonight because it's going to get chilly. So as much as I've enjoyed today, even though I didn't enjoy the breeze, I'm not really looking forward to tonight. Though outside right now, everything's looking clear and gorgeous. Definitely a night to go watch that sunset, as it's just a clear, nice sunset as the sun begins to disappear. And we're not going to have any worries of rain, which is nice given how cold it is. I would hate to see a bunch of rain and cold and just windy conditions. That leads for a bunch of sick people. And I've noticed a lot of people on campus have been sick, so that's really unfortunate, especially with these cold temperatures. Looking at the futurecast, we don't have to worry about rain going into the next 24 hours, even 48 hours here in Tallahassee, which isn't good with that fire weather we were talking about. But at least it's going to be nice if we're going to be walking around campus trying to enjoy this nice cool weather for our friends who maybe have come up from South Florida to come to school here and are trying to enjoy these nice cool temperatures they don't typically see. So as you're planning your weekend or your rest of your weekday as well, or work week as well, we're going to be seeing some nice sunny skies. Like I said, no chance of rain really in the next 48 hours and even as we head into the weekend. And temperatures are expected to warm up just slightly as we go into the weekend, being a little bit more manageable for our friends who hate the cold. And if you're going to do karaoke on Wednesday night, so tonight, it is going to be cold. You're going to want to bring that jacket, especially if you're walking from the parking garage to the karaoke spot. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. The winds are coming from the north. So it means your lips are probably going to get chapped if you don't have any Aquaphor or Vaseline or regular old chapstick on you. And if you're like me, probably going to be studying the rest of the night, it is cold in Stroger. So even though it's cold outside, it's always cold in there. You can always expect that. So you're going to want to have your jacket to walk into Stroger and probably just to be sitting in there and studying as well. So what to wear for the next couple of days. You're going to want to wear a coat. This shows a t-shirt. I would not recommend that. It's going to be windy and cold. And if you got dry skin, if you have your arms exposed, you're going to have those ashy elbows. And no one likes ashy elbows. So I probably wouldn't wear a t-shirt. I'd wear a long sleeve shirt if you are a fan, or maybe even a jacket like me. And if you're thinking about having a bonfire, like we said on the fire desk, it sounds like a really great idea because you're like, it's so cold, it's so nice, I just love it. But we do have a red flag warning. So if you do have a bonfire, make sure that it's contained. Be watching your fire and just be on top of it, because if it gets out of hand, you will be in trouble because there are warnings saying you not to burn anything. So best just to not burn anything. Best to just stay inside, enjoy a hot cup of coffee, watch some Gilmore Girls. That's my favorite show to watch, and it is November, so happy November, everybody. And we can stay indoors and enjoy that. Driving tomorrow, you don't have to worry about clouds or rain, which is nice if that makes you a little worried to drive. You're just going to be seeing some cool temperatures, but you don't have to rub any ice off of your car because it's not going to get that cold. Looking at tonight's forecast, things are going to be sitting in the mid-40s for the rest of the day or into the morning hours. This is going to be kind of when you're walking out the door. It could be a little bit chillier as you head into the afternoon. That's just because we're going to have some radiative cooling. But I'm going to pass things off to Oceana. She's going to give us one last look at our local.
Thanks, Caitlin. I love that you mentioned Gilmore Girls because that's my favorite show too, and it's definitely the time of year to watch that. And instead of doing a bonfire tonight, why not just stay in and open your windows and, snuggle up in a blanket and watch a show. So Doe Campbell right now is still looking gorgeous. No clouds in the sky, so really no rain in the forecast at all. We are dropping to 59 right now, which is a little different than earlier in the show, but still sunny and gorgeous all around the area. Look at here, the sunset at Lake Bradford and St. George Island. It is all looking amazing. These pink and blue skies, no clouds in sight, no clouds on any of our area cameras, actually. That just shows you how dry it really is up here in the Panhandle. Right now, we don't have any clouds, no scattered showers in the forecast at all. We're seeing 62 right now, or around there. In the Big Bend region, though, all around high 50s, low 60s. Really, really nice night, nice evening, because as Caitlin mentioned, tonight is going to get really cold. Donaldsonville, we're at 57, and in Thomasville, we're looking at 55. So we're pretty much in the 50s and 60s for right now. So hopefully this stays for a little bit longer, because tonight we're looking at 49 and Thomasville looking at 45. The coast is looking at the 50s, but really it's all the same. It's all high 40s, low 50s. For tomorrow, we're looking at 9 a.m., 44 degrees, and it's going to get, our high is going to be around 67. So definitely bring that jacket on your walk to class. That morning walk to class is going to be a little bit brutal, especially if that wind keeps up like it has. So definitely cover yourself if you tend to get dry skin. Our future radar still shows very dry conditions. We're going to have some cloud coverage come in tomorrow night, but really nothing that's going to bring any precipitation at all. We are going to continue staying just as dry. Tomorrow, 71 as our high. I don't know if it'll get exactly there, but we are going to be seeing upper 60s, if not upper 60s as our high in the afternoon. I love that. I think that's a gorgeous day in my opinion. For Saturday and Sunday, our weekend in a couple of days is going to be super sunny, and our lows are looking at 50s and highs in the 70s. These are perfect conditions if you want to go out in the day, have a picnic. These are great conditions for that. We are seeing super sunny weather, honestly, throughout the next week. We have the possibility to warm up next week to our 80s, but really not going to be too warm anytime soon. We are going to be sticking around with these lows in the 40s and the 50s. I'm going to pass things off to Caitlin and Nico to close off the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. I have a question for you, Nico. Are you a cold weather person or a hot weather person?
Definitely like the cold weather more than the hot weather, but maybe not as cold as it was this morning.
Okay, so you're like a medium temperature kind of guy. That
Probably
makes sense.
50s and 60s are really nice.
I'm definitely like a 90-degree kind of person. Like, I'd rather be sweating than I was this morning. I was freezing this morning. It was the worst.
This morning it was the wind. That was the problem this morning.
Yeah.
You're going to be enjoying next week for sure, then.
Yeah, I'm actually looking more forward to those temperatures in the 80s than I am in the temperatures this morning. What was it, like 40 degrees when I walked out my door this morning to go to my Spanish class? And then the wind cut me, and I was like, I don't have enough layers on, but I was wearing 3 layers, and I just felt like it was just too much.
Yeah, you're talking about wind chills in the upper 30s at that point.
Yeah.
They're going to be feeling 50 degrees warmer by next Wednesday afternoon when we're in the mid 80s.
Yeah, that's going to be way nicer. So I guess you're looking forward to tomorrow because it's going to be cool again tomorrow.
Yeah, in the afternoon it's going to be really nice tomorrow for sure.
What are you going to do in the afternoon?
I have no idea,
Yeah.
honestly.
Tomorrow afternoon, I'll probably like sit outside just because like I should enjoy it being warm. I mean, being cold because we don't usually get that, especially around this time of year. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, we're a couple weeks away from starting to get these consistently cooler days, but you can always follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather.
You can always like us on Facebook as well at facebook.com/FSU weather.
You can always watch us live on YouTube, like if you're watching us right now on youtube.com/FSU weather.
And you can follow us on Instagram and send us photos on Instagram as well at FSU weather.
Yeah, we always like to see any photos. If we do get cold enough for frost, I don't expect that to happen. You could send those photos to us as well.
That would be awesome to see. I would really enjoy that. But thank you for watching. I'm Keelan McKinney.
And I'm student meteorologist Nico Sepienza.
Thank you.